Hello and welcome to my channel. So I talk about God's faithfulness when you're going through crisis or dark moments, life events, and He's there when no one else can be. Uh, he is wonderful, faithful, and also if you're on the wrong path, he's just going to be who He is. So this story is about when the journey of pet loss. So those that have fur babies know that there is a deep pain with that when you are a pet parent. And anyway, so Cashew, my pug, had a seizure that I recognized. And I was puppy sitting at the time, and it was kind of loud in there. So after she came out of it, uh, I grabbed her and held her close and told her, "I'm here." I was going to get her to a calm place, like outside. And I said, "I'm here." And just in that moment, I saw this deepest, darkest, steepest pit that it ever was, and Jesus was at the bottom of it. And gosh, as I'm just thinking about it now, He's like, "I'm here." He's with us. Wow, there's no pit too dark, huh? Too deep, whatever. And just to know Him, I'll get to that later. But yeah, I kind of said to him, I'm not ready to say goodbye yet. And so a year went by, or actually, I should say, as soon as the vets were open, I could see the vet. And, he said, well, it might just be idiopathic, might not never happen again. And, we could give her this kind of medicine or they run tests that would be thousands and thousands of dollars, but they really might not show anything. And so, but we have this, medicine and stuff. And I tried to give it for a while, but I'm like, gosh, if they don't know what it is, why are we giving medicine when we don't know what it is? And she didn't like it, so we just tried to just do life. Yeah, and I used to always play with her, hide and seek. Come and find me. And she could find me and make a little noise. Well, the night before I found out that she could not hear, her hearing had went, and it's like, anyway, the night before, it's like Jesus came, His face was really close, like I was the size of a little doll, and He was there. And of course, with all the religious teaching that I had, it was something to be afraid of, and so I just kind of associate that. But He's always trying to show that He's close. He's with us, and we are never alone. Well, even talking with the vet, he says, well, they get old and sometimes they lose their hearing. And so I tried some natural stuff of poultices with, I tried everything that I knew. And I remember just trying to face the fact that, okay, if I have a special needs dog at this time, it's what it is. I'm just going to love her anyway, and take care of her and give her support. Well, anyway, there came that evening of December 14th, 2005. And there was like a winter storm. And I was driving to, she had a seizure and she didn't come out of it too well. So I called emergency vet that I knew. And that's what they said. Go to way over. So I went way over, and come to find out there was actually one right behind our house. But they had said before that they wouldn't take, so I thought that she couldn't go there. And so I was driving as fast as I could, my hand on her and just trying to keep her. She took that last breath. There was nobody on the road. It was quite the blizzard kind of snowstorm. And she took her last breath. And I guess as she flew away from her body, but I I had all I could do to stay on the road, because I always thought, we would go together. Um, and there was a bridge coming up, but I was got mad because everything within me, I just it took everything within me to stay on the road, because I knew that even though the pain I was feeling of losing my little girl, I didn't want anyone else to feel that pain. Um, so I stayed on the road, and anyway, we made it to the ER vet, and we parked, and they were like, "Oh no, you have to." There was nobody there. It was a blizzard. You have to go park and stuff. When I came back in, they were doing like resuscitation, I guess, and I'm like, "Huh?" I mean, if the dog goes, don't try to bring it back. But anyway, I will say that there's a gamut of emotions that I went through, having the wrong teaching that God was in control, and so angrily I hit the steering wheel. I'm like, "You take her right to heaven with you." And how did he allow this to happen, and all kinds of things. There was like religious teaching of, oh well, you didn't give a tithe or didn't give a certain offering a few months ago, so now this is like payback, or just junk. And so that's why it's so important to understand God's character. I think as I placed my hand on her, I think I said like the Lord's Prayer, whatever I knew of it, and or maybe Psalm 23 or something. I didn't know much. Religion is certainly doesn't get you equipped. It's no anchor in the storm, but God is. Neat thing about it, though, when we were driving, days earlier or even a couple months earlier, uh, it was like, God told us, it's like, oh, His grace, He's got us covered. um, and I said, it's going to be really big. It's going to be good for you. It's going to be big for you. And it's going to be big for me. And I didn't know, but He's always trying to give a heads up. And I will say that at that place where she had her siege, we were both sleeping in the next room. The door was open, and I felt like this spirit of death over there or something. And she had woke up growling also, so she felt it. And later to come find out, it was actually built on an Indian mound. I was like the first person in that duplex. It was a brand new duplex, which she had gotten, sick, just overload, I think, with chemicals. And it's not good to have all those things, a lot of chemicals in there. But and then later on, when I was standing in that same spot, I used to watch, because she'd use the litter box, and then we'd go upstairs because it was on the lower level. And I heard something say, "But what if she doesn't make it to the move this time?" Because we were moving. And I said, "Oh, I rebuke that, just coming from a charismaniac, just rebuke the devil." Oh, the voice came again. And I said, well, God would give me the grace, not even knowing what grace was. It was just a cliche. And yeah, it's just amazing. Even though we may be on the wrong path, like I said, learning the wrong things about God, God is so faithful. He's right with us anyway. He knows all about us. I never gave it a second thought, what that spirit inside that room or whatever. I didn't. Just the name of Jesus. That's all I knew, and it went away, and we went back to sleep. And anyway, the night before, we were going to put her body in the ground. I was just driving along to work, and interesting, like a full moon. I was in line to pay a phone bill, and then some song came on about, all we've got is a picture left, different things. So a sad song, and I had to get out of line. It's like, oh, wow. But as I'm driving along to work, after I made the payment, And she was like big as a harvest moon, and she was so happy and so young and so vibrant. And Jesus was right there. She like looked at him like she knew him all her life. And I'm sure, animals don't need to be redeemed in any way. So, but she's like, I'm glad I had you. And I'm just crying, like, I'm glad I had you too. And God's got assignment for you. Now, that would have been nice to focus on, but no, coming from decades of condemnation, shame, and guilt, um, it's very, there's no relief with that anyway. So it took a long, long time. You can't just be in those circles and thrive. So I'm so glad for the gospel. But anyway, she ran off to be with her new friends, a giraffe and a bear. So, until paradise reunion, eh? But since it really was a big doozy of losing fur baby little girl Cashew, it felt like a tsunami. Like it was so huge that I didn't know what it hit. I didn't have any clue. Just I didn't see it. It was a big wave. It just like all the signs are there. Guinea pug, I guess I would call her. Um, yeah. And just because our love for someone can be there, it doesn't mean that we're the smartest. But our love is true, and she's playing in paradise. But I'll tell you, I was holding on to the rock. I slept with the Bible, and I my waking hours every 15 minutes, like nothing would satisfy. Nothing would go that deep into that pain except for God's word to soothe. And that's all I knew. So we do what we know at the time. It makes sense. So I was hanging on to the rock, and then I realized that actually the rock was hanging on to me. And so that's the story of God's faithfulness going through it. I do have, I was also able to reach out to other pet parents that are going through a loss of that. And so, again, there was, circles of people that, sometimes church folk are in a bubble if they haven't gone through, and they can actually, be so insensitive and kick you when you're down. Shooters of the wounded, I guess. Yeah, and you'll stay in those circles if you think that's what you're supposed to do. If people are, if you're in a like spiritual hierarchy, and they're saying you're supposed to submit to all the yuck. And so you can do that for decades if you don't know God's character and who you are. And yeah, religion is a doozy. But God was faithful. And so I have a verse, Hebrews 13, part of 5 and 6. And it actually came to me that night when, I didn't, before the siege of Cashew. But see, for God himself has said, I will not in any way fail you, nor give you up, nor leave you without support. I will not in any degree leave you helpless, nor forsake, nor let you down, relax my hold on you. Assuredly not. So we take comfort and are encouraged, and confidently and boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not be seized with alarm. I will not fear or dread or be terrified. And so that's the thing, is it's so important to know the truth, because it can strengthen you. It can help you stand. Otherwise, you'll go through it as like this picture, just all washed up with all. But he still was faithful. And so I guess that's the story of the journey. And hope you're encouraged. So stay tuned.